There's too many road course races. I think Bristol dirt is absolutely the stupidest thing that we could have ever done to Bristol. I think those two races on that concrete surface there, the spring and the night race, those are two of the best races all year long. So I would love to see the dirt go away after next year. If they're going to do it again, the following year we definitely shouldn't. I think that some of those road courses have to go away. What's going on, y'all? I'm Brandon Atlanta Man Bang, coming to you live right here at Coach's Corner, the center of the universe, Thunderbolt, Georgia. Another installment of Rubbin' and Grubbin'. Rubbin' is racing, grubbin' is tasting. Man, the season is finally over, y'all. We got a new champion. We got a lot of news to talk about here, a few different little things we're going to hit. And then we're going to recap this championship race and get right into it. If it's the first time tuning in, we like to start it out with the word of the day. So last week's word of the day was, let me take a look here. Wall, which we talked about Ross Chastain's move, wall riding there at Martinsville and everything else. So I'm sure I probably said that. But if it's first time tuning in, the way we play this game is every time I say this word, Lauren's going to drop it on the screen. You're going to take a sip of your favorite adult beverage. I like to say it's age appropriate. If you're under the age of 21, want to play along, get some sweet tea, energy drink, something sweet, sugar, get jacked up on Wednesday, man. You're halfway through the school week. Play along, man. So this week's word of the day is going to be, I have no idea, but every time I say it, take a sip, y'all. So before we get things really started, man, I do got to say thoughts and prayers go out there to the Gibbs family. After Ty Gibbs won that Xfinity Series race there Saturday night, his father tragically passed in his sleep. So Coy Gibbs, this is actual Joe Gibbs' second son that passed. We lost JD, and then now turn around and Coy's gone as well. So thoughts and prayers to that family. Tragic and very unexpected. I can't even believe, really lost the words of what to say. I mean, these guys still had to suit up and race on Sunday. And I think the impact that, you know, Gibbs as a family had on a lot of the drivers that are there now, Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch especially being there for so long. It's unspoken. I don't even know how you can fathom to put it into words on probably what they felt on Sunday. But thoughts and prayers go out there to y'all, and hope for quick healing. So more news, man. Like I said, my boy Noah Gragson didn't win the damn Xfinity Championship, unfortunately, but he did have an awesome season. I'm really ready for him to join it up and get into the Big Boy Cup Series next year. I think a couple years behind the seat full-time is definitely going to help him grow as a driver. I mean, 8 wins is nothing to shy at. You know, I'm sure he felt like he probably could have done some more things to get up there to Ty Gibbs, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, man. And it was, like I said, not my cup of tea, Ty Gibbs. But I guess in all the, you know, God had his own plan, got a championship and lost something way bigger than that. So at the end of the day, like I said, thoughts and prayers again. Noah Gragson, I can't wait to see you in the Cup Series next year, man. So getting right into this championship race recap, look. To be honest, this is probably one of the most uneventful championship races I've seen in quite some time. There wasn't that much on-track passing. The restarts there again at Phoenix are always crazy going into that dog leg there. They all spread out 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wide, however wide they can get. But as far as on-track racing, it wasn't really that exciting of a race. So a couple of the things that, you know, we talk about is where and how to hold this championship race, right? Like, Phoenix is obviously, the weather's always going to be good there this time of year. You know, it's an awesome, one-of-a-kind racetrack. There's no other racetrack out there that's shaped like it, that races like it. But with that being said, I think that we have to start looking at doing something a little different. If you've watched my show over the past, four years we've been doing this, 5 years we've been doing this, I've talked about it, man. I think that at the award ceremony, when we award, you know, the ceremonies at the end of the year, we need to do a lottery draw for that next year's playoffs, right? We need to take 5 tracks that are staples that never go away, Talladega, whatever it may be. Whatever 5 tracks NASCAR says, hey, these are always got to stay in the chase. We need 5 other tracks that you draw out of between maybe 12 tracks. There again, I know that a certain time of year, there being first part of November, certain tracks are going to be out due to weather restrictions. But at the end of the day, I think that there's a lot of tracks that can put on a better racing environment than what we saw there at Phoenix. There again, like I said, it was just very uneventful, not very many cautions, not very much passing on the track. Doesn't necessarily always have to be a wreck fest or guys going crazy, but as race fans, we all like to see cars get passed, and there just wasn't that much of it outside of restarts and some guys having long-run cars. But other than that, that was it. So hopefully maybe they'll take a page out of my book, think about something, you know, move that championship every 2 to 3 years. I know that Phoenix is signed through, I think, 2024, so we're going to have to wait a couple more seasons before we can find a different racetrack to go to. But at the end of the day, there again, I think a random draw or swapping that up, I mean, would be awesome. So we just got to see what NASCAR comes up with. But I know for ratings and fan-wise, I definitely want to see it move on past Phoenix. So without further ado, y'all, you see the stream behind me. Unfortunately, that blue oval won the damn championship, and my boy Chase Elliott didn't.
Come on, man.
The Chevy team didn't. I'm upset about that. But at the end of the day, Joey Logano, sliced bread, comes home victorious with that second championship. So I'm not necessarily a Logano fan. I don't dislike him. I'm not a fan of his. But at the end of the day, he deserved it. He did what he had to do. He stunk it up, to be honest. Led, I think, 187 out of 312 laps. Absolutely dominated that race, got the pole, never really lost it. The only person I think that really had anything for him there towards the end of the race was Ryan Blaney. Don't know if you guys keep up with NASCAR at all, but if so, go find that audio from the captain, Mr. Roger Penske himself, says, okay, you are now officially his wingman once, he got up to second place, Ryan Blaney, that is. So I think Ryan Blaney could have went out and won that race, to be honest. I think he had a faster long-run car than Joey Logano did. I think that was evident there towards the end of the race. We saw him creep all the way in from a second, run him down, get to him, went back a half a second, 14 laps to go, hung out, and then in the last 4 laps, pulled 3/4 tenths on him to gain right back to him. So for me, I would have loved to see Ryan Blaney win that race, Joey Logano win the championship, and we all know Austin Cindric won Rookie of the Year. So they could have really swept it all in a way. They could have had all drivers with a win. They could have had the Rookie of the Year and the championship still. So barring a late restart there, Ross Chastain had no shot. I think had there been a late caution and it been a green-white checkered or 5 laps to go, Chastain probably would have dive-bombed in there and just went for the gusto and just gave it all, or records or checkers, really, to be honest with you. That's just the kind of style racing that he does. So none of that happened. Joey Logano ran away with it and stunk the show up, man. Like I said, pretty uneventful, almost led 200 laps. So can't jock him, can't take anything away from him. I think Paul Wolfe, the crew chief on top of that 22 box, is probably one of the brightest minds we have in the sport. And I did read something on him that he called. He was calling or texting with Rodney Childers during that race. Kevin Harvick's crew chief had just advice on the strategy, how he's thinking it's going to play out and what strategy to run. And I think that's really neat. And they have a really good relationship. And Paul Wolfe said it himself. He said there's some guys here you can trust with that, and there's other guys you can't. He trusts Rodney 100%. So thought that was pretty neat. But like I said, one of the brightest crew chiefs in the game. Won a championship there with Brad Keselowski in the 2-car. Turns around, got another one here with Joey Logano. The man knows what he's doing. He's not scared to make a strange, pit strategy call. He's not scared to get off kilter compared to other teams and do something a little different to try to win the race. And he's just got a great mind. So big kudos, big shout out to them. Congratulations to that 22 team and Penske himself for winning that championship. We're going to see if they can do it again next year, man. We'll see if one of these other guys get in there and take that crown away from Joey next year. But as of right now, he's got a few months to brag about it. So we'll see, man. So Chase Elliott, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Chase the Bulldog Elliott, struggle was real there at Phoenix, y'all. Qualified decent, not great. Didn't really have that speed. Kind of got off there through I think it was the second stage there. They had to come in for gas. They didn't get the car full. He had to make an unexpected pit stop to get gas, to get fuel. Got the fuel, went a lap down, came all the way back at the end of that stage to get his lap back and be 13th. So when they came in, he had more fuel than everybody else. Obviously, they had to stop compared to everybody else. Came in, didn't take him as long to get that fuel, gained 6 spots on pit road, put himself right back there in contention. If you watch the race, you know the rest is history. I'm going to defend Ross Chastain a little bit. I'm also going to, defend Chase Elliott in a way as well. They're both racing for a championship. Elliott clearly, when you watch it, came down across the nose. Now, I think that Elliott thought maybe Chastain was going to move down a little bit there again to, have some room before we get to that dog leg and maybe not squeeze him into the wall. But at the end of the day, that's just good, hard racing, and things happen. Spun Elliott out, hit the wall, pretty much cost him his day and shot at the championship. So I'm not going to go in too hard on Ross Chastain for it. This isn't something that we saw aggressive racing throughout the year and him just dive bombing, washing them in, using the bumper too much. It was a 50-50, maybe a 70-30, more on Elliott's fault, I would say, as a fan than Ross Chastain. But at the end of the day, some people see it different. That's just how I see it. I hate the fact that my boy didn't get his second championship there, but, our Bulldogs did get that win Saturday against them Vols, which all them voles out there that were talking all that smack, going, oh, we going to drop 50 on you, we going to do this, we going to do that. Y'all didn't do nothing. And I'm going to tell y'all better watch out for Mizzou this weekend in Neyland on upset alert, because I'd love to go ahead and see those Missouri Tigers go ahead and take Rocky Top off their pedestal, and your championship hopes are done, brother. So go Dogs, that's all I'm saying. And I know Elliott had to watch that game a little bit, so at least our Dogs won, brother. What a great season for that 9 camp, to be honest. 5+ wins. I mean, an amazing season. Regular season champion. Got a little cold there in the playoffs, which I didn't think that was going to happen. There were some folks out there that did. I was wrong on that. Me and Lawrence actually had them to win the championship. Didn't quite get it done. But at the end of the day, man, nothing to hang your head about. Going to hold your head high, come back stronger 2023. Get this championship, man. It's very possible the man does it. He could go on a tear next year. So there again, I think him and Alan Gustafson are an awesome duo. They communicate very well together. They both trust each other with 100% on what they do on and off the track, decisions made. So at the end of the day, I've got to sit there and say, kudos to the 9, kudos to the 22 for that championship. But Bulldog going to come back strong. I'm telling you, Lil Bill, Chase Elliott, we coming back strong next year, brother. 2023, that's going to be our year, man. So Ross Chastain came on late to get up to 3rd, like I said. A few seconds back there. Started windling that down a little bit. Now, I don't know how much of that was Joey Logano kind of just managing the gap and just keeping that gap where it was compared to Ross Chastain actually gaining on him on track. But at one point, he was gaining like 0.3 a lap. There again, I think barring a late caution there in a restart, he had no shot at catching him either way. We saw that. That was evident. Joey was just that good all day. I think there again, Ryan Blaney had a better long-run car, and we saw that. But Chastain just did not. Tangled with my boy there on that restart. Like I said, I got to stick up for him a little bit. Great move there. Great, great. Great way to hold your position, man. I mean, that's all there is to it. Could have he moved down half a lane and gave him some room? Yeah. But at the end of the day, we're both racing for a championship, and I'm going to hold my ground. So give you kudos there. But do got to give a big shout out to Trackhouse as a whole as a company, man. I tell you, Justin Marks and Pitbull over there, the ownership of Trackhouse, to watch what they did last year and this be a second-year team and to put a guy into the championship and Daniel Suarez getting a victory as well. So both teams won. I think that we're going to see where they go next year. We'll see if they take a step forward or a step back. But something to really be proud of there as an owner and as a team, period. The whole shop, the way they built the cars, the way they came strong. They were fast. They really were. Season long, they were fast. I mean, there's times there at the beginning of the season, Ross Chastain was just on fire. So big kudos to them over at Trackhouse. Big shout out to the Watermelon Man. Hey, dude, that was an awesome season. Glad to see you out there contending. I think that still got some things to learn behind the wheel. I don't ever want to see the aggressiveness, the way he drives, go away. But I think that this year was going to be a little bit of give and take, as Denny Hamlin didn't do shit after he talked all that stuff. So there again, I think there's some other guys out there that if Ross Chastain comes into the next year with the experience he got this year and starts leaning on guys and doing what he did last year, I think there's going to be a little bit more payback in times where he just gets taken out of the race. So, and I think that's kind of what you need sometimes to grow. Denny Hamlin did it to Chase Elliott there at Martinsville. We've seen numerous guys go through it, growing pains it is. It's just part of it, man. So we'll see what happens next year. But there again, big shout out to that one camp, Trackhouse Racing, Ross Chastain. Good run there, brother. Last but not least, man, Christopher Bell had a pretty good run there. I don't think he ever really had the car and the speed to go up and contend with the likes of Joey Logano or Ross Chastain or even Elliott, really. But I tell you what a hard-fought battle. What a hard, great year it was for the 20 camp, Christopher Bell. Those guys really came to life there early summer and then kind of stalled there for a while, but later in the year just really started coming back in those playoffs, showing the strength and the speed week in and week out. I think that for a guy as young as Christopher Bell is, he's finally starting to come into his own for real. I mean, he's figuring out how to run these races. The length of the races are different. What you have to do, who you're racing against, the competition is much stiffer. So I think he's finally understanding how to put a complete race together. We did see there again some mistakes on his part, on the crew, mechanical failures, as we did with everybody this year. But something to be really proud of is making that championship for, especially with the teammates of Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, and Denny Hamlin. I mean, you made it further than they did, and you're the youngest guy in that camp. You've been in that camp the least compared to those guys. So something to pat yourself on the back about. Something to hold your head up high, give you some really good momentum going into 2023 there again. I think that the 20 team is a team that we're going to have to look out for next year. I think we're going to see them have a few more wins than what we saw this year. I think we're going to see them compete. And really now he kind of moves into that third spot with Coy Gibbs coming over to drive the 18, which we all know is going to happen. You got Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex as the two veterans, and now you're going to get a little bit bigger slice of the pie. Just an awesome run there again for Joe Gibbs Racing 20 and Christopher Bell, man. So like I said, hang your head high, brother. I like you. I mean, I'm not there again. I'm an Elliott fan, but I like you. I like the way you drive. You're a very well-spoken young man. You interview really well. You'll stand up for yourself when you need to and say what you got to say, but at the end of the day, you get the game and understand what the sport's all about, man. So big kudos to you, brother. So before we get into this next little segment, man, I do want to pause for station identification right here on Coach's Corner Sports Network. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday out there, man. Like I said, love watching my dogs whoop that Tennessee Volt ass. We getting ready to go handle business this week against Mississippi State and Kentucky and Georgia Tech, and then we'll be seeing whoever we're going to play in Atlanta, which more than likely it looks like it's going to be LSU. And then after that, who's next, man? Who wants it? I don't think after watching that game Saturday, if we play that way week in and week out, there's nobody that wants it, man. So pause, y'all. Hope everybody's having a great night out there. So overall, look at the 2022 season, man, and this is just pretty much my feels on where we're at with how it went from having the next-gen car to some of the things that we saw. But honestly, to think about where we started the year with the next-gen, coming into a brand-new car, an unknown, thing, we can test it all we want, we can simulate it all we want, but until we get 40 deep on the track and run this for 400 or 500 miles, nobody really knew what it was going to do. So where we started that year out with the tire issues that we had, the lug nut issues that we had, wheels coming off of cars, different things, right? To where we ended the season, I think, was night and day. Now, we still have a lot to work on there again. I think we kind of take for granted that this was the first year of the next-gen car. We're thinking, oh, man, it's got to do this and do that, and it's got to come out and immediately be the best thing ever known to man, right? It doesn't work that way, especially in motorsports. So at the end of the day, overall, I think I'll give NASCAR a B- on that. I think there again, we still have safety issues, as we know, in the rear. They're working on that. They continue to work all season long with Goodyear and the teams to strengthen different parts, to figure different things out that are going to work better as we move forward and go forward throughout these years. There again, I think that I hope that a lot of these major changes that we're going to see happen to the next gen happen this year, off season right now, to move into 2023 with a little bit better base model. But we got to get the safety issues together for real. I think that we saw tighter racing throughout the field. I mean, that's evident with how many first-time winners we had this year. That's evident with how many, teams we had that got their first win, how many guys, different winners we had as a whole throughout the season, and just how competitive some of those, what we used to call B and higher C teams, if you will, compete with the big dogs, the JGR, the Hendrick Motorsports, and the Penske's. I mean, we saw a lot of teams get some wins and outrun those guys. So I think there again, NASCAR checked the box on getting the sport a little bit more competitive throughout the field, tightening that field up to giving more guys opportunity. There again, the cost and everything. But like I said, it's year one. So as we go on through these next couple seasons, you can guarantee that I think there's going to be a little bit of spacage between those C-tier teams that we saw have good runs now and those A teams. I think that gap's going to grow. Now, I think there's going to be more teams that we consider able to win races consistently and run good. But at the end of the day, money doesn't lie. We all know that. Money makes the world go round. So the more funding these teams have and are able to test and R&D and do different things inside that NASCAR rule book, the more you're going to see these guys progress forward faster than some of the teams that just don't have some of the equipment and some of the funds. But at the end of the day, like I said, check the box off for competitiveness throughout the field. I think that we're slacking a little bit there in style of racing and passing. Some tracks that we saw were just not good tracks to watch happen. There was a lot of lackluster performance. There wasn't much passing at certain places. There again, Phoenix was one of them. When you look out through the field and you don't see very many cars getting passed or racing going on, it's kind of the opposite of what you really want to see. So there again, I think the next gen has some work to do to get the passing aspect back into some of the tracks and some of the places we run. But as a total grade to watching what they did, I think we can check the box as far as good style racing as well. So we'll check that one. Now, getting back to the safety, like I said, we've got to do some things to get everything tightened back up as far as the safety goes. We saw guys get some concussions this year. You know, Kurt Busch comes to mind, a kind of an early retirement from full-time racing due to the concussion he got at Pocono and the safety in the car. So I'm sure NASCAR is working really hard with everybody to get this figured out. I'm sure that they are going to get it figured out to make these cars safer for the drivers. They definitely don't want to see anybody get hurt. They don't want to see careers get cut short. Kurt Busch had an amazing career, don't get me wrong, from full-time racing. I think we'll still see Kurt Busch on track some places, maybe a little third car certain places. But at the end of the day, you know, hey, man, it happens. We saw Alex Bowman there again. Alex Bowman, another guy, pretty much cost himself his playoff chances through the safety issues of the rear of that car and concussions that we saw. So, you know, we saw him come back there at the season finale at Phoenix. We saw him rebound from that, which is always good to see. But you got to look at the age difference between Kurt Busch and Alex Bowman, and just who knows how many concussions Kurt Busch had prior to this. So, at the end of the day, we saw that. And then we even saw Tyler Reddick almost there towards the end. You know, I think it was the week before Phoenix or maybe after. He wasn't feeling well and had concussion-like symptoms and got cleared by NASCAR to compete and said that he felt a little better. So there again, nobody is safe from what we've been seeing. I think that there again, we've just got to kind of grow the sport and get that safety back and get it right. Get that car to suppress some of that energy and dispute it instead of into the driver's, you know, head. To other places in that car. So I think NASCAR is going to get that figured out. So I think the lowest grade would be that aspect of it. You know, there again, I think NASCAR's got some things to figure out as a whole moving forward before we really get into what I would love to see as a fan. And really, when we're honest, the generation I watched grew up racing, 33 to 45, 48 years old. Through those early, mid, late 90s, man, that was the best NASCAR was. So the racing was great. I think that those fans should have a really big input on where NASCAR heads forward from here. Me looking at it there again, I'm totally not down with the schedule still. I think there's too many road course races. I think Bristol dirt is absolutely the stupidest thing that we could have ever done to Bristol. I think those two races on that concrete surface there, the spring and the night race, those are two of the best races all year long. So I would love to see the dirt go away after next year. If they're going to do it again, the following year we definitely shouldn't. I think that some of those road courses have to go away, especially with California still in the works to become a short track, and we still really don't know what Texas is going to do per se. So that could open up two more places on the schedule to go. Get rid of a couple of these. We got North Wilkesboro coming, Rockingham's getting redone. In the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to have a lot of places we can go outside of road courses. Now, I think 2, 4 max would be the max for me. The Roval there again, and I think couple true road courses, whether it's Sonoma, Watkins Glen, whether it's Circuits of the Americas, whether it's Indy, which I don't want. The Brickyard's got to come back. I hate the road course at Indy. That's just my personal opinion. The Brickyard really needs to come back. But at the end of the day, there's still some things schedule-wise that got to get figured out for the fans to be more down. The Chicago street race is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard of. The astronomical amount of money it costs NASCAR to put this on is just mind-blowing to me when there's a lot of places geographically that would love to have NASCAR there. There again, Road America, up there. I mean, that place was an awesome crowd turnout. They loved NASCAR up there, and we kind of shit on them, to be honest. So still some things with the schedule to get figured out, but at the end of the day, I think they're doing a good job. Overall, it was a really good season with that next-gen car, especially to be year one. I'm excited to see what year 2 brings. Hopefully, the on-track racing, passing-wise, gets a little bit better at some places. There again, I think that some things you just can't control or out of your control no matter what you do to the car. I'd like to see a little bit higher horse package on some of the short tracks. I'd like to see that underbody aero diffuser be taken off at some of the short tracks like Martinsville and different places. There's no need for that in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what NASCAR does here moving forward in the next couple of years. But like I said, overall, B- for NASCAR as a whole with the company and the season. And we'll see where we go from here, man. We'll see what next year holds for sure. So before we get into, the next thing, I do want to give a big shout out to all the sponsors here for Rubbin' and Grubbin' that supported us this year. There again, none of this is possible without them. First and foremost, John and Adele Henderson here at Coach's Corner, the main sponsor, the people that allow this to go on and allow me to do this here. Got to give them a big thank you for everything. Arbor Man Tree Service, my main man Parker Eccles, I got to tell you, thank you, brother. You were always down for the cause. Whether it's from the cooler full of joys, the endorsements and what you do for me. financially is awesome. John and Adele there again allow us to come do the Cooler Full of Joys here at Coach's, the barbecue contest we did out here this year, just all the things to be a part of. They allow that to happen here, and I can't speak highly enough about that, and just the love that I feel for them as a family member of Coach's family. So at the end of the day, thank you for that. But Parker, man, thank you for everything, brother, financially. You don't understand what you do for me. We know, man, we've been friends since, 3-4 years old, man. We've known each other forever. Man, I love you, dude. Thank you for everything you do. Lamar, brother, I got to give a big shout out to you too as well. Lamar's Auto Body Shop up here on Skidaway. Dude, came on there a few months into the season, but I absolutely love you as a person. Love you for everything you do. The contributions that you've done for Rubbin' and Grubbin' to help me progress doing this show and just raising more money for the causes and charitable events that we do here at Coach's and on Rubbin' and Grubbin'. I can't speak highly enough about it, man. So love you. Can't wait to see what the future holds. We got another season coming up in January, so hopefully everybody's going to hop back on board for sure. But last and not least, Redfin, man. Redfin polarized sunglasses. I do have to give a big shout out to them as well. It's so neat to me to be a part of this company. Absolutely love the sunglasses. They are absolutely amazing, man. Lawrence has his. I didn't wear mine. Time change, got it dark, man. But I tell you what, just an awesome surprise to be able to make that happen this year for me on Rubbin' and Grubbin'. So everybody working there at Redfin Polarized, man, thank you guys so much. Can't wait to run it again next year with you guys. And hey, like I said, if you haven't yet, make sure you check out that website at checkout, man. Rubbin' and Grubbin', save you 15% at checkout. I mean, that's pretty neat. You get your own little discount code to use on your show. So amazing craft, amazing quality, best lenses on the planet, like I say, man. And hey, at the end of the day, you got to live life fins up, man. So live it up, live life fins up with Redfin, man. And thank you guys for that for sure. So, like I said, man, it's just an awesome thing to do. The off season, we got some major announcement stuff that we're planning on going on for next year. We've got some new sponsors joining the team here on Rubbin' and Grubbin'. We've got some other stuff that we're going to be doing. So it's absolutely amazing just how this show has grown to me over the last four years that we've been doing it. It's just absolutely amazing. I got to give a big shout out to all and everybody that participated in all the events, all the patrons here at Coach's, the Cooler Full of Joys, the concerts, the barbecue contest, anybody that donated anything this year or gave their money towards a great cause. I've got to say thank you, man. That's just an amazing job. The last cooler went this past weekend. That raised our total to over $3,500 on the year for Pace and Thompson. I can't speak highly enough of what that means to me personally. I know I contacted the family this past weekend and just kind of chatted back and forth a little bit with them. What it means to them is just, they can't believe it. They just can't believe that people came together like this for a cause, for their granddaughter. Absolutely amazing, man. So I got to get with them here coming up next week, get them squared up, talk to them for a little while. But at the end of the day, I just got to give a big thanks to everybody, patron here at Coach's Corner, there again for the donations and everything you guys did throughout this whole long NASCAR season. So 2023 is going to be even bigger and better. We've got some announcements there coming up here again in January. I've got some things I've already got lined up. It's going to be bigger and a better show, man. We're going to be making it happen on Rubbin' and Grubbin'. So if you haven't yet, like, share, follow all that social media. Definitely go on YouTube, subscribe to that, share that, man. Get every NASCAR fan that subscribed on that channel. There again, like I said, the more eyes we get on it, hopefully the more people that we get, in our donation and our causes, man. So definitely make sure you check that out. So before we get out of here, I got some announcements to make here. Got to give a big shout out to all the shows. Coach Carl DeMasi, who's on first base. I don't know if they have one. They have one yesterday?
Who's on second? No.
No.
Done for the year.
Done for the year. Didn't do one. Done. Baseball will be back here coming up in the spring. You guys know that opening day, so get ready for that. I'm sure DeMasi will be doing that again next year. Coach Carl's, sports report here every Saturday live at Coach's Corner. An awesome show. Keeping you up to date on all kinds of different sports, prep sports, major national sports, football, baseball, basketball. Just an awesome freaking deal, man. So got to be awesome with that. Like I said, got to give a big shout out to Travis Udon over there on Hot Grits. Amazing job Travis does. Like I say, always putting it down like a shitty baby. It is an awesome deal. I listened to the episode from last night. You can stream that anywhere you stream your podcast. So make sure you check that out again. Hot Grits, awesome show, comes out every Tuesday. there again, just got to give a big shout out to everybody here at Coach's Corner and the support and everything they do. We are not done for the year. I'm coming back next week. We've got another episode of Rubbin' and Grubbin'. We've got all kinds of things to talk about. We're going to be breaking down those teams, giving them a grade, and all that. But that's going to wrap it up for the rubbing part. We're on to the grubbing part, which we got a little appetizer here. There's some folks here that got a little ahead of themselves, had a couple bites, man. But this is too good to resist, man. I'm telling you, it's as simple as this, man. Hot bread and cheese. Don't know if you ever had the queso out of Coach's Corner, but this is some of the best queso I ever had in my life. It's got its own little distinct little flavor, man. So make sure you guys come up here if you hadn't, looking for something real quick to eat, a little bite to start with. Hot bread and cheese, man. Awesome. Hey, like I said, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be back next week. Got another episode of Rubbin' and Grubbin'. We're going to recap grades on teams where I think they're going to be next year, better or worse. Then we're going to go to every 2 weeks, keeping you up to date on that NASCAR news, breaking it down, man. We'll see what happens in between now and then. But as always, hope everybody had a great Wednesday. Hug your loved ones out there, man. Hug your loved ones. Give them a kiss. Tomorrow's not given clearly as we see. So make sure everybody has a safe time out there, man. Love y'all. Tune in next week. Rubbin' and Grubbin' right here at Coach's Corner. Thunderbolt, Georgia, y'all. And as always, stay safe. Bam. Wash your hands, y'all.
Yeah. And that sends down to the loop.
That's it.